So good morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss about Schrodinger equation for a particle within force field of 1D coordinate space. That means we are trying to find out the Schrodinger equation when the particle is in a bound state or in a force field, or we can say in an attractive field or repulsive field, like that. So I can give you one example that if we have to consider the electron cloud or 1s state of the hydrogen atom, and here is the nucleus. So here electron is bounded in this region in 1s orbital. That means some force is acting on that electron, and that electron is bounded, means in motion condition, but it is bounded with that force. So that is nothing but called the force field. In that way we can understand. So same thing, it has been written that consider a particle of mass m and momentum px is in motion along x-axis with in a region of the force field which can be derivable from the scalar potential, and here Vx does not depends upon the time explicitly, hence the force field is conservative, which only depends upon the end point on the path. So overall what it is written that if that particle is moving or it is in a dynamic state in that force field, then that in that field the potential or the potential energy can be derived from that force, or the so-called force also can be derived by that by a scalar potential or a scalar function which will be called as the scalar potential. I am going to give you one example. May you have been remember that suppose we are going to be consider that this is a positive charge and another positive unit positive charge that I am going to take from infinite to this point, which is the distance is r. Okay, so when it is when this positive charge at the infinite, there is no force on this unit positive charge. But however, if we are going to take this charge from infinite to this point, then on the way the repulsive force on this unit positive charge is going to be developed. That means I can say that here is a positive charge and another positive charge, unit positive charge. If I am going to try to take from the infinite to nearby the positive charge, then the repulsive force is going to be developed. So if I taken this unit positive charge from infinite to here and I will be leave this one, then it will be move in this way with a speed. That means how much I have been done work to take this positive unit positive charge from infinite to this point. If I am going to leave same amount of kinetic energy or same amount of motion with that speed, kinetic energy having that speed, that particle or that charge is going to move away from this charge. That means due to the repulsive force arises between the two positive charge, and the work done, whatever we have been done on this positive charge, that only stored in this positive charge, that is called the potential. So whenever I will leave, that potential is converted to the kinetic energy in this way. So here we can see that potential or that electric field, or if we are going to say that the electric field intensity is along this way, then electric field intensity can be derived by minus dV by dl, or V, or the V is nothing but this one. So whatever written here, that the force field which can be derivable from the scalar potential Vx. So here electric field intensity E is nothing but force per unit charge, or electric field intensity also will be the unit of force. So here this force, whatever we can consider in between these two charge, that force can be derived by the considering this expression where V is nothing but called as the potential. And if I am going to take or going to consider its another form, then V will be minus of E dot EL minus E into L. Okay, now that V also, this V can be written in this way, that E dot dr, here dl, if instead of this L here I written suppose R, E dot dr minus infinity to R, what will be the work done? Here see, E is the force, dr is the displacement, so force into displacement will be give the so called work done, and that this work done unit is nothing but called as the potential. So here the force field, in the force field, force can be derived by the potential, and the potential can be derived from that force field or amount of force. Like that, if we are going to consider this integral, at last we are going to found that this one. So that means whenever we want to take this charge from infinite to this point, this much amount of energy will be stored in this charge here, which is apart from the R. That means if we are going to leave this charge, then it will be give a work done, or it will give its corresponding kinetic energy. So this will be nothing but called the energy stored in the charge when we are going to take infinite to any point. That is nothing but called the potential. So if we know this one, at a particular point in this force field or any field, unknown field, then we are using this one, we can get the force at this particular point. So this force, suppose we this is the charge, means this electric field intensity direction will be this. So at this point, for this force field, if I know at this point the potential is this much, so easily I can find the electric field intensity or the force at this point due to Q on the test charge. So likewise, here we can see the force field which can be derivable from a scalar potential. Okay, so I am going to do a separate video upon this. So in short, I am going to discuss about the potential, whatever we are going to be used in this topic. I am going to give another example, that suppose one hydrogen atom and its 1s state. 1s state means the electron will be anywhere around this nucleus, or we can say that these are the electron clouds. So sometimes electron here and sometimes electron here. That may be if electron will be here and it moves from here to here, that means it is attracted by the nucleus, we can say. And if somehow it is here and electron here, initially it is here and it is moved to here, that means due to the repulsive nature. So in between around the nucleus, attractive and repulsive force will be continuously be changed, we can say, and we are going to get the cloud of the electrons around the nucleus. But however, the average equilibrium distance, we can say, where the electron will be found most probably, means this will be called as the Bohr's radius. So this will be the particular distance at which most probably the electron can be found. Maybe it is attract, maybe it is repulsion by the nucleus. However, at a particular average distance, most probably the electron is going to be found, and which will be called the Bohr's radius, or we can say that equilibrium distance. I can show you another example, or here graph. This graph I am going to be give you in detail in some other video. I can show you here. See, you just focus on this, concentrate on this example, that suppose electron is outside the nucleus, far apart from the nucleus. Okay, whenever suppose electron is here, if I am going to take the electron towards the nucleus, then the attractive nature between the nucleus and electron is going to be developed. Attractive nature. If we are going to take the electron more nearer to nucleus, then repulsive nature is going to be developed. Due to attractive nature, it is moving, this electron can be moved towards the nucleus, but due to the repulsive, it is moving away from the nucleus. However, due to the equilibrium of attractive and repulsive, the average distance will be nothing but called as the Bohr's radius. So likewise, here we can see that if distance is going to be decreased, the force is negative. Force is here along this y-axis is force, and along this, no need to draw this one, only for your just idea I am giving, and I will give a separate video about this potential and potential energy, like that. So just to here we are trying to understand that in the force field, how the potential energy is behaves, and in which way it is positive and negative, that we are going to be just fundamentally try to be know. So here, if we are going to decrease the distance between the, suppose here is the nucleus, okay, if the electron is moving towards the nucleus, the attractive nature is increases. Attractive nature means the negative. Here this is a 0, and the negative force, or force which is can be represented by the negative, is increases, and after this point the force is increasing towards a positive way. That means the repulsive nature is increases. So if we are going to take the corresponding its potential energy, force and corresponding its potential, and the graph is like this. So this distance, which is called the R0, will be this one, where the force, repulsive and attractive force, both are equilibrium. Means how much attractive force towards this, that much repulsive force. That means here at this point or distance R0 from the nucleus, the force is 0, and this R0 or the so-called A0 is nothing but called as the Bohr's radius. So here we can see that at this point, the distance from the nucleus is R0, their potential energy is minimum. The potential energy is minimum, that is telling that it is very equilibrium distance or equilibrium state, or we can say the binding energy state. This is called nothing but called the binding energy, or energy required to break the bond. If this is the minimum, at the minimum energy state of a system, or we are going to consider if this is the nucleus and electron, at this distance A0, how much attractive, that much amount of repulsive can be get electron at here. So we can say this is the equilibrium point. But if we have to move in this way, somewhat in this way, then the attractive nature somewhat will be increased, and if we are going to move in this way, then the repulsive nature also is going to be increased. So in this way, at this distance we can get the equilibrium position. So overall we can know here that the force field can be derived from the potential, and the potential or the potential energy also can be derived from the force field wherever we are going to be considered in our quantum mechanics. So that type of case, for this type of case, the total energy of the particle in the system will be belongs to kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay, so the total energy can be represented by E. The kinetic energy, if we are going to consider only x-axis, so here the view is we can say it is 3D, but we are considering this equation is only 2D, only 1D motion. Okay, so here E equal to px square by 2m and plus Vx, which represents the potential at a particular point. From this potential we can also found its corresponding force at that point on the particle. Okay, by considering this formula. Okay, if it is so, if potential is positive, then we can say that this is called as repulsive behavior between the two particles, or between the particle and the force, or the force on the particle is repulsive. If this potential is negative, then we can say the force is attractive in nature. So here we have been considered in general, that is plus Vx, and so in future this Vx can be positive or negative, but in general here we have been taken as positive. So this will be E minus px square by 2m equal to Vx. Now we know in our previous discussion that psi xt in general, or the wave function psi xt, is nothing but 1 by 2 pi h cross and minus infinity to infinity phi px e to the power I by h cross x px minus 80 into dpx, which is the wave function propagating along positive x-axis direction. And from our Schrodinger equation derivation previously, that is time dependent Schrodinger equation derivation, whatever we have been done, you can found at the end, means here you can found this one, that is I h cross del psi by del psi xt by del t plus h cross square by. So this expression you can found in our previous derivation, and here I am not going to derive all the things. The same thing we are going to be found if we are going to be derive, but if we are going to consider this one, then what will happen, that we are going to be see. So I h cross del psi by del t plus h cross square by 2m del square psi xt by del x square is equal to this much. You can found in your previous derivation. Okay, previous derivation means this expression came, and then another two expression we got the final answer. Another two expression we got the final answer. You go back in your note and you just check it. Okay, so just before the final expression you can found this one. I am writing just this expression over here because I am trying to omit this one, omit all the things. So if in your exam it will become the Schrodinger equation for force field, so you have to derive from the beginning itself. These are the same procedure that you have to follow up to this expression. So I am not deriving these all the things. Okay, these all the things you have to derive if in exam they are going to be asked about time dependent Schrodinger equation of motion in the force field. Okay, because here we are considered E minus px square by px square by 2m equal to 0, and we have been substituted this value at this point. But these all the steps are common for this derivation also. Okay, so I am not deriving those all the things. So derivation part here, derivation is same. You can write here. Derivation up to this expression is same. Derivation is same. Khali you write this much, it will be indicate why it has been written. So with the help of the previous derivation, we can found this expression. Okay, this expression is here I have been written. This expression has been found at the time of deriving the 1D Schrodinger equation of the motion for free particle. So at the time we have considered that E minus px square by 2m equal to 0. So these things you should not be write in your exam. These things, instead of these things, you have to derive this the steps whatever we have been omitted, because these are already we have been written in that derivation. Okay, so now but for this case, in our previous case it was E minus px square by 2m has been 0 because due to the free of the particle, but here E minus px square by 2m equal to Vx. So now we have to put this one Vx here. Okay, so here E minus px square by 2m equal to Vx. Now by putting this value in the above equation, we can found that IH cross del psi by del t. Here xt is the function of psi, so del psi xt by del t plus h cross square by 2m del square psi xt by del x square is equal to 1 by 2 pi h cross root over phi px Vx, and this much. So these are the easy steps, nothing I done some extra things, only I have been taken Vx outside of the integration, and we found that this much is nothing but this is Vx and this is nothing but our initial wave function. I have been written here psi xt and I h cross del psi xt by del t, and this much minus h cross square by 2m del square psi xt by del x square plus Vx psi xt. So this is the equation represents the one dimensional time, two times I have written, okay, time dependent Schrodinger equation for a particle which is moving in a force field which can be derivable from the scalar potential Vx. So in 3D format, how it can be written? It can be written instead of del square by del x square, it can be written as the del square psi xt plus Vx psi xt, and left hand side will be same because here psi xt differentiated with the time, so del psi xt by del t, and this one. This is the 3D form of the above equation. Now we have to move towards the time independent Schrodinger equation in one dimensional coordinate space. So consider the typical our previous topics, that x psi xt is equal to 1 by 2 pi h cross phi px into e to the power I h cross x px minus et into dpx. Let this is equation number 1. This is the representation of wave function which is moving along the positive x-axis direction. Okay, now we have to differentiate the above equation with respect to t. We are going to get this one. So if I am going to differentiate this one with respect to t, then it will be I h cross minus e, I by h cross e minus and e to the I by h cross x px minus et dpx. That implies if we are going to take this much will be outside of this integration, then we are going to find minus I e by h cross, and the rest of the expression will be nothing but psi xt. So I can write psi xt. So here, if I am going to cross multiply this one, then I can find E psi xt is equal to h cross minus h cross by I del psi xt by del t. That implies E psi xt, if I am going to take I to the numerator, then it will be minus I, a minus and minus it will be plus, so plus I h cross del psi xt by del t. Let this equation is equation number 2. Now we have to differentiate the equation number 2 with respect to x 2 times. here equation number 1, I mistakenly written that it is 2, but we have to differentiate equation number 1, this equation number 1 2 times. Okay, so I written mistakenly here, so you have to write equation number 1. Now differentiate equation number 1 with respect to x 2 times we can found that del square psi xt by del x square will be equal to 1 by 2 pi h cross minus infinity to infinity 5 px, and if I am going to differentiate this one with respect to x, then we can found I h cross by px first time, second time again I by h cross into px. So first time differentiation I by h cross px, second time I by h cross px. The in detail step we have been done in our previous derivation, means in our time dependent Schrodinger equation of the motion, in our first derivation of the Schrodinger equation, the detail we have been written. So here I have written directly that 2 times integration of psi with respect to x will be 5 px I by h cross px into I by h cross px, this much. So it will be I and I will be I square will be minus px square by h cross square will be this much. So if we are going to take this minus px square by h cross outside of this integration, then the rest expression will be nothing but psi xt. So what we got, that del square psi xt by del x square will be equal to minus px square by h cross square psi xt. Okay, so that implies px square psi xt is equal to minus h cross square del psi xt by del x square. So here I am going to add somewhat something that suppose okay, we are going to discuss later. So we found that px square psi xt is equal to minus h cross square del square psi xt by del x square. Let this equation number is 3. So previously we know that the time dependent Schrodinger equation of a particle in one dimension moving in the force field, that is I h cross del psi by del t minus h cross square by 2m del square psi xt by del x square plus v x psi xt, that much we know in our previous study. Let this equation number is 4. Okay, now put the appropriate value from the RHS of equation number 2 and 3 in equation number 4. Now equation number 2, see, from the equation number 2 what we can found that E psi xt is nothing but I h cross del psi xt by del t. Okay, so if we are going to consider I h cross del by del t will be how much? Consider the equation number 1 for this one, equation number 2. So from the equation number 2 we can found, see, E psi xt is equal to I h cross del psi xt by del t. Okay, so I h cross del by del t will be nothing but E. So actually psi xt is a function. So if E is operated or E is we cannot say that it is multiplied. Here see, del by del t is differentiation of psi xt. If right hand side is the differentiation of a function, likewise left hand side will be some operation of that xt, otherwise meaning will be different. Right hand side is telling that some operation, that is derivative, first derivative of the psi xt, means on the psi xt we have to operate or we have to derive or we are applying a derivative. Okay, derivative, or we are doing a mechanism on psi xt. Likewise left hand side should have to be satisfy the physical meaning of the right hand side. So E here also one type of operator, or it is physically operates on this psi wave function psi xt. So here E will be nothing but I h cross del by del t. So instead of I h cross del by del t, I can put E. So here I h cross del by del t, instead of this I can put E. Okay, so left hand side is happens that E psi xt. Okay, now we have to consider the right hand side. Right hand side is that, see, minus h cross square by 2m del square psi xt by del x square. For this one we have to consider the equation number 3. So equation number 3 is nothing but see, equation number 3 tells us that px square psi xt is nothing but minus h cross square del square psi xt by del x square. Likewise, here in our right hand side, on the del x square function we have operated or we have applied second derivative. So on right hand side is telling that wave function is psi xt. On the wave function we have applied the second derivative. Some application we have done on the psi xt. Likewise, here psi xt means this part will be represent some application or operator. The operator word I am going to say to you that because the operator will be your next topic. So again I am going to be represent the right hand side, that here if we are going to consider psi xt, the del square by del x square, this is the constant, leave it, del square by del x square is a operation, okay, is a applied something over the psi xt. So if del square by del x square is a operation on the psi xt, hence px square is also a operation on the psi xt. So if we are going to remove the function part, then I can found px square will be equal to minus h cross square del square by del x square. Okay, so I can put from this equation number 3, px square is equal to minus h cross square by del square by del x square. In our this equation we can found minus h cross square del square by del x square will be considered as px square by 2m psi xt plus v psi, as v is the scalar, so v will be written as such, vx and psi xt. Okay, so now if we are going to consider or we are going to take this term to the left side, then it will be minus px square by 2m psi xt, then e psi xt, and if I am going to take this term to the left side, then it will be e minus vx into psi xt equal to 0. And again, so this equation will be nothing but called as your time independent Schrodinger equation. And if we are going to reform this equation 5 to 6, or we are going to put px square value again, so we are going to found that h cross square by 2m del square psi xt by del x square plus e minus vx psi xt equal to 0. This is 6th equation. Also this I have written at the end are the different form of the time independent Schrodinger equation. So this is the Schrodinger. Here I am just interchange the value, nothing I am going to do extra things. Instead of px square we have been substituted that minus h cross square del square by del x square. So that the expression becomes h cross square by 2m del square psi xt by del x square plus e minus vx psi xt equal to 0. And if we are going to multiply, or we are going to be divide h cross square by 2m in each term, or we are going to be multiply 2m by h cross square, then it will be del square psi xt by del x square plus 2m by h cross square e minus vx psi xt equal to 0. So this expression you have to be remember. This expression will be required in our coming topics. So this expression is important because this expressions is taken by most of the books for solution of different problems. So you have to remember this expression. So if this is the expression for the particle inside the force field. If there is no force field, means Vx will be equal to 0. For the free particle there is no potential, so Vx will be equal to 0. So hence the equation number 7 will be del square psi xt by del x square plus 2m by h cross square e psi xt equal to 0. So from equation number 5, 6, 7, 8 all are called as the so-called our time independent Schrodinger equation in 1D coordinate space. So you have to remember that for potential field this is the expression, without potential field or the for free particle this will be the expression. So at the end of this discussion I have been given, end of the note I have given two things that you have to write, that particle in force field in 3 dimension, what will be the, it is easy that del square psi xt by del x square is there. So instead of this we can write del square psi xt, right? So it will be written as, it can be written as del square psi rt, because xt is along x axis, so rt will be represented the 3D plus 2m by h cross square into e minus v is the function of r, v is the function of r will be equal to here psi rt will be equal to 0, right? So if the particle is free, then Vr will be equal to 0 and its corresponding 3D format psi del square psi rt plus 2m by h cross square e psi rt equal to 0. So these are the two expressions for particle in force field for 3D form of time independent Schrodinger equation in force field in free situation, for free. Then I have been asked that from our above discussion what is the E value that we have been considered. Here we have been considered E is nothing but I h cross del by del t, right? So here E is nothing but I h cross del by del t. Okay, so here px is how much? So here px is somewhat tricky things that we are going to be consider here. See, here we can say that we have been consider px square is minus h cross square by h cross square del square by del x square. So if we are going to consider that term, we can do a simple mistake. I am going to show you. See, if we are going to consider px square is equal to minus h cross square del square by del x square, and the so called px, somebody can be write that I h cross del by del x. Okay, but here we done a simple mistake, because if we have to go the initial where we got this expression px square is equal to minus h cross square by minus h cross square into del square by del x square, if we have to consider the initial expression, there we can found what is the things we done mistake here. See, here I by h cross px into I by h cross px will be nothing but equal to this one. That means I by h cross into px into I by h cross into px is nothing but our this side. Sorry. Okay, I am going to write once again. See, here I am going to write. I can write here. So first of all we have to check once again that this expression that this from this heading we got this equation from the equation number 2. After differentiating equation number 2 we got this expression. Okay, first we have to again just recheck. It is I by h cross px, I by h cross px. Okay, so minus px square by h cross square. Okay, so next we found minus px square by h cross square del psi xt will be this much. So here I am going to be write this one, that this is nothing but I can write that I by h cross px into I by h cross px into psi xt, right? So instead of write this much, this will be the answer. Okay, so if we are going to write px square, only px square, okay, only px square, so this will be this term. See, this is nothing but equal to, see, so this is this much, this is nothing but I by h cross, okay, I by h cross into px square psi xt, right? Okay, so now px square psi xt will be how much? So here px square psi xt will be how much? That is h cross square by h cross by I into h cross by I into del square psi xt by del x square. Okay, means here what we done initially, that here we have been multiplied and we got -1, and like that we found this one. But if we are going to do in this way, that we are not going to multiply I with I, we have to be keep terms that I by h cross, I by h cross, here I by h cross, I by h cross, only px square psi xt. So now px square psi xt will be h cross by I into h cross by I del square psi xt by del x square, right? Now px square will be how much? Now the so-called px square will be how much? That is h cross by I into h cross by I into del square psi xt by del x square, right? So now px will be the root over of like this, or we are going to take first only one term, that will be h cross by I del by del x. So here I have px square, so sorry, px square psi xt, okay, will be h cross by I del square psi xt by del x square. So only px square will be h cross by I del square by del x square, del square by del x square. Should not be right this one. Okay, so px square will be h cross by I into h cross by I into del square by del x square. That implies px will be h cross by I del by del x. If I am going to take I to the numerator, px will be minus I h cross del by del x. Okay, so similarly py will be minus I h cross del by del y, and pz will be I h cross del by del z. Okay, so these are called as the so-called momentum operators or momentum that means these are nothing but called as the so-called physical applications or physical applicators. These are the applicators on a function. From that can we get the corresponding momentum. I can give you some simple example. Suppose we have a particle along x-axis. This is the x-axis. One particle is moving along x-axis. What is its momentum? If somebody is going to be asked, that means first we have to know that its wave function. here particle is nothing but the so-called momentum, wave function is psi xt. If we know the psi xt of this particle for this one-dimensional motion, then its corresponding momentum can be found by applying this one on this wave function. That means minus IH cross del by del x of psi xt. Whatever the answer we are going to get, that will be nothing but called as the momentum of that particle. In detail we are going to be study whenever we have to discuss the topic operators. In short, I told that here the px is nothing but called the momentum operator, or to finding the momentum along x-axis, py momentum finding the momentum along y-axis, like that. Here E, whatever E is nothing but we found that I h cross del by del t. This is also the so-called operator or applicator on a particular wave function, from which or the wave function will be speak out how much energy it has. That in 1s state electron is present. Okay, how much energy it has, this electron. If this electron's wave function is psi rt, suppose it is 3 dimension, psi rt is the wave function of this electron, then how much energy is possessed by this electron? If somebody asks the question, then it will be nothing but IH cross del by del t of psi rt will be give the answer. So what will be give the answer, in which way we are going to found in detail, that we are going to be study in our operator topic that we are going to discuss in our next classes. So this is the discussion about your Schrodinger equation in force field, independent time independent Schrodinger equation in 1D and 3D. So this expression, these two expression you have to always be remember. That is, this is the expression you have to remember for the force field. This is the expression. These two expressions most important in our future classes. And I can say that here E we found IH cross del by del t, that you have to remember, and PX minus IH cross del by del x, corresponding PX, PY, PZ also you have to remember, which will be helpful for our next classes. So in short, if I am going to be explain the so-called potential is nothing but the amount of work done. Suppose a positive charge Q0, test positive charge is here at infinite. I have taken this positive charge to the nearer of the larger positive charge. How much work done? Because if I am going to take towards this positive charge another positive charge, this will be the repulsive nature. So how much work done I have been done to taken from infinite to this point. If I will remove this one, the particle will be move with a velocity with that much amount of kinetic energy. That means the work done, how much I have been done to taken here to here, that much amount of potential has been kept by this particle at here. So that much amount of potential has been taken by this charge at here. So if we know potential of this particle at this point, then easily we can find how much force will be applied by this larger charge to this body by using this formula. So these potential and force, electric field intensity is nothing but force per unit charge. So potential and force both are interchangeable. So only for that it has been written that force field which can be derivable from the scalar potential. So we go through this derivation, and if any doubt, that we are going to be discuss. Okay, thank you.